Good evening. On behalf of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, also known as the FERC or the Commission, I'd like to welcome you all tonight. This is a scoping meeting for the Atlantic Sunrise Expansion Project planned by Transcontinental Gas Pipeline Company, LLC, or Transco, a subsidiary of Williams Partners, LP. Let the record show that the public scoping meeting in Annville, Pennsylvania began at 7:02 p.m. on August 5th, 2014. The primary purpose of this meeting is to provide you with an opportunity to comment on the project or on the scope of the environmental analysis for the project. We want to hear what you believe we should include in the environmental analysis. And please note that this is not a hearing. There will be no sworn testimony taken, although we do have a court reporter who will transcribe everyone's comments and questions so they can be made part of the public record in this proceeding and they can be appropriately addressed. My name is Jennifer Kerrigan, and I'm the Environmental Project Manager for this project. I'm with the Commission's Office of Energy Projects. Also here with me today from the FERC are Elisa Likens and Craig Cano, and Lindsay Grissom, Bart Jensen, Michael Douglas are also here. They're part of our third-party contractors from National Resources Group, or NRG. And the NRG staff is assisting us with our environmental review of this project. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission is an independent agency that regulates the interstate transmission of electricity, natural gas, and oil. It has up to 5 commissioners who are appointed by the President of the United States with the advice and consent of the Senate. The Commission serve 5-year terms and have an equal vote on regulatory matters. FERC reviews proposals for the construction and operation of interstate natural gas pipelines, storage facilities, and liquefied natural gas terminals, as well as the licensing and inspection of hydroelectric projects. As a federal licensing agency, the FERC has the responsibility under the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, to consider the potential environmental impact associated with the project which is under its consideration. The environmental review must comply with various federal environmental laws and regulations, including but not limited to the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Endangered Species Act, Magnuson-Stevens Fisheries Conservation and Management Act, Migratory Bird Treaty Act, Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act, and National Historic Preservation Act. The FERC is the lead federal agency for the NEPA review and the preparation of the Environmental Impact Statement, or EIS, for this project. In addition, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has agreed to participate as a cooperating agency in the preparation of the EIS and will use the EIS to meet its NEPA responsibilities. As I said earlier, the primary purpose of this meeting tonight is to give you an opportunity to comment on the project or on the environmental issues that you would like to see covered in the EIS. It will help us the most if your comments are as specific as possible regarding the potential environmental impacts of and reasonable alternatives for the planned project. Issues generally focus on the potential for environmental effects, but may also address construction and restoration issues, mitigation, and the environmental review process itself. At the speaker's sign-in table, we also have comment forms you may use to provide written comments tonight, or you may have already prepared written comments that you would like to present to us. We can take them and have them filed for you in the docket for this project when we get back to the office next week. So tonight's agenda is a simple one. First, I'm going to describe the environmental review process and the Commission's role. And then we will hear from Megan, oh gosh, I wrote down the wrong page, Stafford from Williams will talk about the project a little bit. And then we will hear from you, all of you that have signed up on the speakers list to speak tonight. And we will go in the order that you signed up. So if you want to give comments tonight, please be sure to sign up on the speakers list. Now I'll describe our environmental review process. To illustrate how this process works, we've prepared this flow chart, and the flow chart is also the last page of the handout that was available at the sign-in sheet, because it's kind of a challenge to read it from back in the back of the room. But right now, we're in the first pink area, and we are holding our scoping meetings. That's the list. the lowest yellow block there in that first pink area. At this time, we are beginning our environmental review process and are in the public input opportunities part. In May and June, Williams held open house meetings over 3 weeks, which gave Williams a chance to meet with affected landowners and other interested parties to explain more about the project. It also provided an opportunity for the FERC staff to introduce our agency and explain our role in the process. The FERC approved Transco's request to begin the pre-filing process for the Atlantic Sunrise Expansion Project on April 4th, 2014. This began our review of the project. The purpose of the pre-filing process is to encourage the early involvement of interested stakeholders and the early identification and resolution of environmental issues. As of today, no formal application has been filed with the FERC. However, the FERC, along with other federal, state, and local agency staffs, have begun review of this project. On July 18, 2014, FERC issued a Notice of Intent, or NOI, to prepare an EIS for this project and initiated a scoping period. The scoping process is a learning process. It is where we educate ourselves about the project and potential environmental issues. And many of the issues about the project have already been provided in comments that have been filed with the Commission since the pre-filing process began in April. The scoping or comment period announced in the NOI will end on August 18, 2014. Once scoping is finished, our next step will be to analyze the proposal and the issues that have been identified during the scoping period. This will include an examination of the planned facilities locations, as well as alternative sites or routes. We will assemble information from a variety of sources, including Transco, the public, other state, local, and federal agencies, and our own independent analysis and fieldwork. We will assess the project's effects on water resources and wetlands, vegetation and wildlife, threatened and endangered species, cultural resources, soils, geology, land use, air quality, noise, and safety. When complete, our analysis of the potential impacts will be issued in a draft EIS. It will be mailed to all interested parties, and it will have a 45-day comment period, during which we typically schedule public comment meetings on the draft EIS. Comments on the draft EIS received at the public comment meetings and filed either electronically or by mail will be addressed in the final EIS for the project. The mailed version of the EIS is usually on a CD. This means that unless you tell us otherwise, you will get the EIS on a CD. If you prefer to have a paper hard copy mailed to you, you must indicate that choice on the return mailer that was attached to the NOI. I have a copy of that here. And there are more copies of this available out in the lobby if you haven't gotten one. As I mentioned earlier, the issuance of the NOI opened the formal comment period that will close on August 18, 2014. However, we will continue to take and address your comments throughout our review of the project beyond that date. But we ask that you file your comments as soon as possible and by August 18th in order to give us time to analyze and research your issues. Further, Transco is required to respond to comments within 14 days of the close of the comment period. So if you get them in by August 18th, Transco is supposed to respond to them. So it's another incentive to file them by that time. If you receive the NOI in the mail, you are on our mailing list and will remain on our mailing list to receive the EIS and any other supplemental notices we may issue about the project, unless you return the mailer attached to the back of the NOI and indicate you wish to be removed from the mail list. And I've already gotten one of those. If you did not receive the NOI, and you should have, I apologize for that. And as I said, we do have additional copies. If you know of anybody that would like to have a copy of the NOI, we do have additional copies available out in the lobby. Also, if you filed comments on the project and you included your address on your comment letter, you've also been added to our mail list. I'd like to add that FERC encourages electronic filing of all comments and other documents. The pre-filing handout that's available at the sign-in table and the NOI explain FERC's e-filing system, and provide instructions for mailing comments as well. Instructions for using the e-filing system is also available on our website, which is www.ferc.gov, and you just look under the e-filing link. It's very important that any comments you send, either electronically or by mail, include our internal docket number for the project. That will ensure that members of the staff evaluating the project will get your comments as soon as possible. The docket number for the Atlantic Sunrise Expansion Project is P as in Paul, F as in Frank, 14-8-000. That's PF 14-8-000. In addition, we offer a free service called e-subscription, which automatically notifies you by email of all issuances and filings and provides you with a link to access the documents. You can register for this service on our website under the e-subscription link, and the NOI and the forms at the sign-in table also tell you how to go about doing that. Now I want to explain the roles of the Commission and the FERC environmental staff. The 5-member Commission is responsible for making a determination on whether to issue a certificate of public convenience and necessity to an applicant. In this case, the applicant would be Transco. The EIS prepared by the FERC environmental staff, of which I am a part, will describe the project facilities and associated environmental impacts, alternative to the project or parts of the project, mitigation to avoid or reduce impacts, and the environmental staff's conclusions and recommendations. The EIS is not a decision document. It is being prepared to disclose to the public and to the Commission the environmental impact of constructing and operating the proposed project. The Commission will consider the environmental information from the final EIS, along with the non-environmental issues such as engineering, markets, and rates, in making its decision to approve or deny Transco's request for a certificate. There is no review of the Commission's decisions by the President or Congress, maintaining FERC's independence as a regulatory agency. And now, before we start taking comments from you, Megan Stafford from Williams will provide a brief overview of the planned project.
Good evening. My name is Megan Stafford, and I support the public outreach efforts for our proposed Atlantic Sunrise project. This project is being designed to connect natural gas-producing regions in northern Pennsylvania to markets in the Mid-Atlantic and southeastern states by 2017. The proposed Atlantic Sunrise project is being designed to transport 1.7 million decatherms per day of additional natural gas transportation capacity. The additional capacity added through this project is equivalent to serving energy needs of approximately 7 million homes per day. The Atlantic Sunrise project would expand our existing Transco transmission pipeline by adding new pipeline infrastructure in Pennsylvania, as well as modifying some existing Transco facilities in Pennsylvania and other states, including Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, to allow gas to flow from north to south in the system. When the Transco pipeline was initially constructed in the early 1950s, it was designed to connect natural gas supplies from the Gulf Coast with markets along the East Coast. However, in recent years, the natural gas supply landscape has shifted, and today, Transco's customers ship more natural gas from the Marcellus supply area than the Gulf Coast. In 2012, Transco transported about 225 million cubic feet per day of gas supply from the Marcellus. In 2014, that number has climbed to 3.5 billion cubic feet per day. In the response to this shift, the Atlantic Sunrise project is being designed to fundamentally change the flow of natural gas in the Transco's pipeline system, allowing gas to flow bidirectionally so that customers like public utilities, power generators, and industrial natural gas users along the eastern seaboard can have access to economically priced Marcellus shale natural gas supply. The scope of the project includes the installation of approximately 56.5 miles of 30-inch pipeline from Susquehanna County, Pennsylvania to Columbia County, Pennsylvania, and approximately 121 miles of 42-inch pipeline from Columbia County, Pennsylvania to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. These facilities are referred to as the Central Penn Line. The project would also include 9 miles of 42-inch pipeline loops located in Lycoming County, Pennsylvania, known as the Unity Loop, along with 3 miles of 36-inch pipeline in Clinton County, Pennsylvania, known as the Chapman Loop. In addition to compressor facilities, as well as modifications to existing compressor stations across the project area. 2 sites are currently being considered for Transco's proposed new Station 605. Both sites are in Wyoming County, one site in Clinton Township and the other in Nicholson Township. Station 605 would include the construction and installation of 2 15,000 horsepower compressors. 2 sites are also being considered for Transco's new proposed Station 610. Both sites are in Columbia County, one site in Orange Township and the other in Hemlock Township. Station 610 would include the construction and installation of 2 20,000 horsepower compressors. The company also proposes to replace approximately 2.5 miles of non-contiguous 30-inch pipeline in Prince William County, Virginia. Transco entered the pre-filing process in April of 2014 and filed first drafts of Resource Report 1, which covers the scope as well as the purpose and need for the project, and Resource Report 10, which gives an overview of the company's alternatives analysis in May of 2014. Initial environmental, cultural, and civil surveys for the Atlantic Sunrise project began in June 2014. For the greenfield pipeline portions of the project, the company is currently examining a 600-foot wide study corridor and has asked for survey permission from landowners along our primary route, as well as several alternatives currently being considered. The 600-foot wide study corridor allows the company flexibility to make informed decisions regarding the potential location of proposed facilities. 10 open houses were held in May and June across the project area. Over the course of these open houses, we had the opportunity to speak with more than 2,500 people in the project area. We were very pleased by the turnout at each location and feel that we are continuing to make good progress in educating the public about our proposed project. As a result of feedback from landowners and stakeholders gathered at our open houses and our ongoing feedback meetings with local and county officials, more than 20% of the southern portion of our original proposed route has been modified. We plan to file additional drafts of all required resource reports 1 through 12 in October of this year. It is important to note that the basis of the data that will be filed with our draft resource reports in October is data gathered through July 1st, 2014. We continue to make modifications to our route based on field data as well as stakeholder and agency input. Changes made after July 1, 2014 will be included in our formal 7C certificate application that we plan to file around March of 2015. The company hopes to receive a FERC order in the spring of 2016. Should the project receive approval, the company is targeting a July 1, 2017 in-service date. Transco meets or exceeds all federal regulations established by the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration for constructing and operating its interstate natural gas pipeline systems. Transco has maintained the integrity of its existing pipelines since their installation in accordance with federal regulations. Our integrity maintenance plan focuses on prevention, first and foremost, followed by detection and mitigation. The pipeline and compressor stations are being designed with established and proven safety and security measures. A local full-time staff of highly trained individuals will operate, monitor, and maintain the pipeline and its facilities. In addition, the pipeline will be remotely monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from Transco's Central Gas Control in Houston. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an overview of our proposed Atlantic Sunrise project.
Thank you, Megan. Now we begin the important part of the meeting where we hear your comments and questions. I will first take comments from those who have signed up on the speakers list. And as I mentioned earlier, this meeting is being recorded by a transcription service. This is being done so that all of your comments and questions will be transcribed and put into the public record. To help the court recorder produce an accurate record of this meeting, please only speak when you're at the microphone. Please face the FERC staff and court recorder so that we can accurately record your comments. I ask that when I call your name, you come up to the microphone and state your name and spell it for the record. Identify any agency or group you're representing, and define any acronyms you may use. I also ask that everybody else in the audience respect the speaker and refrain from any audible show of agreement or disagreement. I know this is hard to do, but I understand that. In the interest of allowing as many speakers as possible, I'd like to keep your comments brief, but tonight right now I only have 13 speakers who have signed up to speak. So I'm going to ask that you try to keep your comments to about 5 minutes. And we have a visual timer that I've set, and it will have 4.5 minutes of green light, 30 seconds of yellow warning light to indicate to the speaker when it's time to conclude, and then 10 seconds of red to indicate the allotted time has ended. So I please ask that you abide by this time so we can allow everybody to speak. Whether you provide your comments tonight verbally or mail them in, they will be considered equally by the FERC. We are now ready to call our first speakers, and to make it a little bit more efficient, what I'm going to do is to call 4 speakers, and so we don't have to wait for people to come down from the audience. I'm going to ask you to sit in these first few seats here, and then sort of be an on-deck kind of area. And then after those speakers have spoken, then I'll call the next 4 and so on. Okay, so